And now, introducing two mixed martial artists coming to you from New York City. It's Killer Cam and Lightning Larry's MMA post-fight wrap-up show. We
Good morning, fight fans. Thank you for joining us for Killer Cam and Lightning Larry's post-fight wrap-up show. It is the morning after UFC 251, Kamaru Usman vs. George Masvidal. This took place on Fight Island.
That is Yas Island, located just east of Abu Dhabi.
As you guys know, George Masvidal took the fight on short notice, filling in for Gilbert Burns, who tested positive for coronavirus. This was for the welterweight title. UFC 251 has trended for sports fans, and the title fight's making it a very exciting pay-per-view event.
The first card at Fight Island did not disappoint. Before we get started, I recommend that you guys Google the making of UFC Fight Island and go behind the scenes to this 10-mile safe zone on Yas Island. So, see how athletes are tested and quarantined. Super interesting to watch. Highly recommended. Okay, now let's get started.
All right, let's go straight to the main card with Paige VanZant versus Amanda Ribas. This was quick work for Amanda Ribas, who tapped out Paige VanZant with the first round armbar at the 2-minute and 21-second mark, ending Paige's UFC contract with a devastating loss. After a few strikes and clinch, Ribas scored a head and arm throw. VanZant attempted to escape out the back door, but Ribas transitioned smoothly to an armbar. She adjusted and rolled to belly down armbar, deeply finishing it. She forced Paige VanZant to tap.
VanZant recently spoke about being underpaid and has been open about pursuing other MMA avenues outside of UFC. In the post-fight interviews, Dana White said she had been fighting inconsistently with injuries and got subbed in the first round so she could test free agency. Sounds like Uncle Dana isn't jumping on the chance to re-sign Paige.
Yeah, I think Paige is going to test for free agency and maybe sign with Bellator or a different promotion. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she might sign with Bellator.
Bellator's a good chance. Maybe even one championship.
Yeah. One championship.
A lot of great fighters recently signed with one championship. They have Mighty Mouse, Eddie Alvarez, who they have Sage Northcutt.
I think Paige VanZant will be a good fit in either one or Bellator.
Yes. Now we're going to move on to Thug Rose Namajunas versus Jessica Andrade. So the former UFC strawweight champion, Rose Namajunas, fought Jessica Andrade, who slammed Namajunas on her head to steal the title from her over a year ago, in May 2019. She got revenge on Andrade because, she obviously wanted to win this fight.
Yeah.
She needed this fight. Now she's in title contention against Zhang Weili. This fight got fight of the night and earned both women $50,000 for the bonus.
Moving on to Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo. Peter Yan knocked out Jose Aldo with a punishing performance to win the vacant bantamweight title belt.
So Peter Yan showcased relentless ground and pound, relentless striking. Jose Aldo could not even answer Peter Yan. Late in the fight, Yan put Aldo on his back and relentlessly threw punches and ground and pound. I thought the fight should have got stopped earlier. It was a terrible stoppage. So when somebody's taking that many strikes, they have to stop the fight.
Yeah, he was sitting there. He wanted the ref to stop the fight. When he was in the turtle position for over like a minute, getting punched straight to the head.
It was like 30 seconds.
Yeah, like 30 seconds just getting punched.
That takes so much damage.
The ref got to stop the fight.
So that can really mess up your brain, especially for a star like Jose Aldo, a legend in the sport. He can't be getting hurt like that. Mm-hmm. You know, he has some more time. So who is next for Peter Yan?
In my opinion, I have top-ranked contender Aljamain Sterling. He is waiting in the wings. What is your take on who Peter Yan has next?
Honestly, I think Aljo should have fought Peter Yan this fight last night. So Aljamain Sterling has been waiting for this title shot for so long. He recently fought. Who did he recently fight? Cody Stain? No, what's his name? Sandhagen.
Yes.
He finished Sandhagen, the submission. Very good fight. So I think Aljo gets the next one. So people think that this is Jan's best performance. I definitely think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Only 7 fights to win the UFC title. That is crazy. We're going to move on to the co-main. Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski. Some shaky judging at UFC 251. I don't know about any of this.
Yep.
In Saturday's co-main, Blessed attempt to regain the featherweight belt that he lost to Volkanovski last December, but again fell short in the judges' eyes. This time losing a 5-round split decision. This was one of few close fights on the card, which could have gone either way. In my opinion, this was poor judging. Dana White shares the same opinion, which is good, because Dana White is probably the most knowledgeable person in the UFC. He is the president, obviously. Nonetheless, Holloway appeared far better in his second matchup with Volkanovski, clearly winning rounds 1 and 2. In my opinion, he won rounds 1, 2, and 3. People are saying Volkanovski got the 3rd round.
I think Max
Max
won. I think Max won.
Volkanovski easily got 4 and 5, but I don't know. I think Max won that fight.
Max Holloway claimed he trained for UFC 251 on Zoom. He opened up to Ariel Helwani about the difficulties he had because of COVID-19.
I don't think that he could have did a full title fight camp on Zoom.
I think
neither did DC. DC was making the point. Daniel Cormier, he did not think that Holloway trained on Zoom. I don't think so either. It doesn't make sense that he can do better than he did last time in a title fight against Alexander Volkanovski, who's an elite fighter. You kind of need to spar to do a full camp in the UFC.
I think he just didn't want to get in trouble because, like, the COVID-19's going around. He can't be with other people, but
his gym also isn't supposed to be open.
Yes, I think that he just didn't want to get in trouble. So we are not buying that Bless trained on Zoom. Neither is Daniel Cormier. There's no way Max Holloway trained on Zoom without partners.
So Max closed the gap. You know, he got his distance on point in the fight. He had really good striking. Everything he did, pretty spot on, you know. I thought he won. So joining us now is former UFC bantamweight Nick Pace. He also happens to be our sensei and MMA instructor. So, hello, Sensei Pace. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
What's up? So, we're going to talk about UFC 251, about Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski. What's your take on that fight? Who do you think won? Give us your thoughts.
Watching the fight, I thought it was really, I thought it was a great fight. You know, it was seeming like Max Holloway was going to win that fight. I thought, to everyone that was watching it, including Dana White and, all the press, if you saw the UFC post-fight conference, you saw them, they were kind of talking about how they thought Max won. And, I think Max got it, but, he stole round 1 and round 2, I think, after he dropped him a couple of times, but he got right back up. I thought the fight was very entertaining, to some people that were watching that fight and a couple of other fights, just because they're not making contact and, like, blasting each other all the time.
Yep.
Some people thought, like my wife thought, like at some points, like it was a little bit boring, but I didn't think that it was a boring fight at all. I thought the fight was amazing. I don't think Volkanovski did enough to beat Max, but Max didn't take it from Volkanovski, so it'll always go to the champion when it's that close.
So, do you think that Max actually trained on Zoom? Because he's saying that he trained on Zoom.
Yeah, my man on Zoom. Yeah, you guys know, I I teach mixed martial arts out of our school in Tottenville in New York, and training on Zoom for the past 4 months has been kind of like a blessing in disguise, because it's been giving us an outlet to train and stuff. So when I heard that he was training on Zoom, I was so hyped. I'm like, all right, that's pretty dope. And then if he wins this fight when he trained on Zoom, it just gives us even more of a reason to utilize that platform.
Yeah, I also thought he won that fight. The thing with the Zoom is, Zoom lets you train a lot of new techniques. I think for a championship title fight, though, and to do that well like Max Holloway, I do think he did some sparring. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know how much I believe him that
like
he did all of
entirely
it on
on
Zoom.
Zoom? I don't know about entirely.
Yeah, I mean, look, if he has a bag at his house, then I understand he could train on the bag. But, there's certain things like, being a former, UFC fighter and pro fighter, you need that contact. Like, you need the timing. Like, there are certain things that you just can't get from Zoom. And I'm definitely an advocate of training on Zoom when there's nothing else to do. But when you're fighting at the highest level in the world, in the UFC, I mean, you need to get the timing of the person punching at you. So I don't know how much I believe him.
There are things like counter punching, distance, range. You have to feel these things out. You can't just find this on Zoom. You have to figure these things out by training with other people. This lets you get more used to fighting people in an octagon. Makes it a lot easier. And especially that Max was able to win the fight,
Yeah. I mean, he looked super calm. He looked relaxed. I thought Volkanovski, you saw, as he was walking out, you saw Peter Yan, right as, Volkanovski was walking out, they gave each other, a head nod or whatever, all right, go get him, And when they got out there, it was pretty cool to see how... and that's another fight that I want to talk about, but it's pretty cool to see how, Volkanovski came out like a madman, and you saw Max just super calm and relaxed, you know?
Max usually fights very composed. It's a very good style to have. It wins fights because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But sometimes the sprint, like Masvidal, and we'll talk about that.
That's a sprint. He fights.
That's a sprint. He was hoping to get a knockout in the first round.
He was looking to KO Kamaru Usman, even though Kamaru Usman has range, he has wrestling, he has reach, he has so many things that make it very hard for Usman to KO him. It's just sometimes not going to happen,
Yeah.
With certain people.
What'd you guys think? Who did you have, Max or Volkanovski?
I had Max. I think Max too. So we both thought Max won, and I thought Max was going to win.
Yeah. I mean, the kid Volkanovski is good. I don't know why he didn't stick with his kid. He should have. I feel like he was trying to prove something to Max and to everyone else. I'm not just a kicker. But you saw in the first and second round, he wasn't really throwing a lot of his kicks, and I think that's ultimately one of his strongest points. And I think because he was trying to prove something and he didn't throw the kicks in the first two rounds, that's what really got him into deep water. Because you guys saw in round 3, 4, and 5, he was really lighting up his legs. In the last round, Max Holloway's legs were getting jacked up.
Yep, I feel like Volkanovski's best weapon is his leg kicks. That is his best weapon, just like Jose Aldo. He doesn't throw them anymore. I don't know why.
I don't know why Jose...
Remember when he destroyed Faber's legs with the leg kicks?
Yesterday. Yep.
In the WEC? He could have easily done that to Peter Yan, and he could have won that fight. If Peter Yan didn't have as much movement, it would be so hard to fight him. He's a boxer. Boxers need movement. So if you cut off Peter Yan's movement, it's not happening, Yeah. So let's move on to the main event, Kamaru versus Masvidal. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So I am not a big fan of Jorge Masvidal, and I'm not a big fan of Kamaru Usman. I'm really not a big fan of either one of them. I did want Usman to win, but what was really weird is that as I was watching the fight, I was kind of in the beginning of the fight, I'm like, all right, I want Masvidal to lose. And then it wasn't even like I want Kamaru to win. It was like I want Masvidal to lose. But as the fight was going on, I don't know why. It was really weird. I'm like, I felt like I want to see Masvidal knock him out. I wouldn't mind seeing him, get a knockout. But, the kid, Usman is, he's really talented. He's very disciplined, and, he sticks to his game plans, and, he knows what works.
Mm-hmm. Usman actually left this training camp because he was in the same gym as Gilbert Burns.
He trains with Henry Hooft at Hard Knocks 365.
Yeah, that's so weird,
it's
right?
A very
like
good gym.
They train in the same. Imagine fighting one of your friends that you know, but like at the UFC. If it's at a local tournament, all right, it's one thing. But for the belt,
they've been training together for 11 years with Henry Hooft. Did you know that?
I did not know
11 years. That's like a lifetime.
Goodness.
That's like a lifetime training partner.
So they know each other.
Yeah, and they were training partners.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
He left the gym because he was fighting Gilbert, and then Gilbert obviously pulled out because Corona. He couldn't fight.
What I think about that fight, Usman definitely controlled the distance. If you listen to what's his name was talking about this, Brett Okamoto, he was talking about how when George was at range, like at far range, he had more versatility. He could land more punches. He can throw kicks. He can do everything in his skill set. But when he was in close range, Kamaru Usman would dominate that whole...
Right.
That's a whole field of fighting, Being in close range, jiu-jitsu, it's not that Masvidal's jiu-jitsu isn't good. It's just that Usman is just such a great wrestler, and he can just control anybody. He can control anybody to the fence. He can muscle anybody to the floor in that division, in my opinion.
Right, and you think about it, Masvidal, you saw him at the end of the fight, and he was like, we're going to run it back, man. We're going to run it back. You got my respect or whatever it is. And, you think about it, and Masvidal, you got to give him props. Like, the guy was in shape. 6 days notice. 6 days
notice, and he made weight.
And he made weight. I was just going to say that, imagine, like, I know from making weight, and you know from making weight as well, a little bit, that it's nothing fun about that, and it's very difficult, especially when you have to lose that much weight. Do you know how much weight he had to lose in total?
Like 15 pounds, right? I hear like 15 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight.
He was like 190 or something. I don't know. He was like 180 or something. I don't know.
But on top of that, traveling to
on a
Abu
plane,
Dhabi.
Yeah. It's like a 10-hour flight, right?
It's a 15-hour flight. I was just on the phone with Jimmy Rivera. I was just talking with him. He was I was FaceTiming with him last night, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, man, now we're here, me, Lewis, and Ray, whatever. They're
in Abu Dhabi.
They're in Abu Dhabi, yeah, because he's fighting on Wednesday.
Yes, he's fighting Wednesday.
He took a short notice fight.
Against
so
Cody
he was telling
Stamen,
me,
right?
Yeah. But he was telling me, he said, we have to quarantine. We had to fly to Vegas, and then from Vegas you have to quarantine for 48 hours or whatever, and then from Vegas to Abu Dhabi. Once you get to Abu Dhabi, you have to quarantine for another 2 days, which is crazy. So on top of all of the weight cutting that Masvidal had to do, and the traveling and the quarantining that the guy had to do, you got to give him credit. You know what I mean? So he has my respect for sure. But I thought that fight was definitely entertaining.
It was entertaining to just see the control of Kamaru Usman, how he was able to just bully Masvidal to the fence.
And at the same time, wondering if Masvidal is going to land that big shot.
Yes. If he landed a big shot, that was game over. His
over.
Punches are so powerful. He baptized Darren Till with one of those.
He did baptize Darren Till, but did you see how many headbutts there were last night?
Yeah, there was a lot. There was, what's his name? It opened the cut on Masvidal, right? Usman turned his head and headbutted Jorge. It obviously is accidental.
3 times in the clinch. Like 3 times in the clinch.
Obviously accidental, but it still does damage in fights. It can open a cut. elbows
Yeah, and
and
then the judges
headbutts.
see that stuff.
Elbows and headbutts open the most cuts, in my opinion.
Yep.
More than punches, more than kicks, knees too.
Did
Yeah.
you see Usman's clinch control? It was like over 6 minutes.
Yes, he had a
7
lot of
minutes.
clinch control. Okay, so
that
now
how-
I want to get into your career, your personal career,
Uh-huh.
everything about that, So let's just do a quick run through of your career. So you fought Demetrius Johnson, right?
Yeah.
You fought Diego Brandao, right?
Yep.
A lot of great fights. We're just gonna pull up your Wikipedia real quick.
You can call it the Nicopedia.
The Nicopedia.
Nicopedia.
Yeah, we're just gonna pull up your Wikipedia real quick. So
Alright.
I'm gonna go into records. So
Diego
you
Brandao.
fought-
I never fought Diego Brandao. Is that what you said?
wait, who'd you fight? I thought you fought Brandao, right?
Miguel Torres.
Yeah, Miguel Torres, yes.
Somebody.
Yeah, decision.
No,
And
Ivan
then Ivan
Menjivar. That's who you
Menjivar.
fought. Menjivar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What is your highlight of your career? Do you think? What's the highlight?
I think of my whole pro MMA career,
Of your
I think
pro career.
the highlight is either my submission, the pace choke, or the
With Will
flying knee,
Campazano.
I guess.
Against
you know,
Colin Tebow, the flying knee at Bellator 11.
yeah, that one is
2009. I was
2009.
I was 1 year old when that fight happened. My brother wasn't even born when that
He
happened.
wasn't even thought of yet. That is so
Jeez,
crazy.
When he flying knee Colin Tebow.
I was flying kneeing. I was throwing a flying knee, knocking some guy out while you were learning how to poop in your diapers.
Dimitri, so Caden wasn't even alive for Demetrius Johnson also.
Yeah, that
The
was
Mighty
some
Mouse fight,
crazy
that was
stuff.
actually a very close fight too.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? I think Dana White liked me. I don't know what it was, but after the Demetrius Johnson fight and after the Ivan Menjivar fight, on both occasions, so I lost them obviously, and so, but those were the two fights in my career.
I thought
that-
you beat Ivan Menjivar. Watching that back, you won that fight.
So Dana White wound up sending me a check in the mail. It was like a week later. I'm like, what the heck is this from the UFC? And Dana White, he wrote on a note. I still have the note, and it said, "Keep your head up, kid," or something like that. Like, you did a great job. I had you winning in my book. Like, here's a little something. And he sent me a check for an undisclosed amount of money. And
That's
it was
great.
pretty cool because everyone was saying to me, that I won that fight.
That's so like rewarding to just see the boss
Yeah.
Dana White.
It's validating, It's validating to
Very
know
validating.
that it's not just me who thinks that.
Yep. So after your UFC career, after MMA, professional jiu-jitsu fights, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you competed in combat jiu-jitsu worlds and Rise
Yeah.
Invitational, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a win over Nick Hoinstein, right?
Yep.
And made it to semifinals or
Yeah.
semifinals, yes. So what's your highlight of your jiu-jitsu career so far?
I think the highlight of my jiu-jitsu career is beating Alex Eklund.
Beating Alex Eklund, the rematch
Yeah,
of
the
the
rematch.
first fight, which ended in a draw. You can
Yeah.
also watch those fights. If anybody listening, if you guys want to go see those fights, the jiu-jitsu fights, the MMA fights, you can go into YouTube, search up Nick Pace Jiu-Jitsu or Nick Pace MMA, and you can see the fights.
Yep.
Yep. There's a lot of good ones on UFC too.
Yeah, they still have it on UFC. Unfortunately, I'm not in the UFC game, which would be cool.
That would be cool.
But
You were in the
that would be-
UFC game. UFC the game, the first one. I think you were in it.
I was in that game?
I think so. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
you
check.
and Lewis were both in there.
I got to go buy that game now.
I think you were in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I got to go. I'll check. I'll check online, but
Yeah. I know Lewis was in there. Sensei Gavin.
yeah, Lewis is definitely in. Yeah, because he was in the Ultimate Fighter and stuff. But I just wanted to ask you about one more fight that we didn't get to talk about yet. It's the Jose Aldo
Jose
versus
Aldo and
Peter.
Peter Yan. Yes.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of that fight?
I liked it. I thought it was a great fight. Peter Yan just has really good hands, and he was able to just land most of his shots against Aldo. Aldo's kind of older. Maybe prime Aldo, this would have been different. And if Aldo threw leg kicks, this would have been different.
Yeah, and Caden, I wanted to ask you, like, when you were watching that fight, right? Did you see Aldo winning, or did you have Peter Yan winning?
I wanted Aldo to win, but I knew Peter Yan was going to win.
Yeah, I think everybody had the same opinions. You know, everybody
he looked
won.
good.
Yeah, Aldo.
He looked real good.
Aldo,
like that twitchy speed, you know, really fast and like throwing the low kicks. I wish he would throw more of those low kicks, man.
I know.
But you know,
I wish he could fight the way he fought Moicano. You know.
Yeah.
Just
he looked like a beast.
Throwing kicks to set up hands is very good.
You know what's funny? I was just telling. I usually have people over my house for the fights or whatever, but I didn't last night. But you know, I was just telling people, my wife and Ricky last night, that you know, styles make fights like more than people even understand, that they can even fathom. Like, you know, you'll get a guy like Jose Aldo and he'll fight Moicano, and then he'll look amazing, and then you'll get him and he'll fight Peter Yan, and it'll be very close, and then you'll get him to fight Conor McGregor, and he'll get smashed. So it's like they have that skill that's continuing to grow and get better, but once you put it against a certain person, everything changes. So certain people look really good against, you know, certain types of styles, you know. So it's really cool to see all the different styles come together, and then who's the best, you know.
Yeah, Peter Yan looked very fast. He looked really good. He looked really good.
He did look good.
So
yeah, he looked good.
We'll go back to the Jorge Masvidal fight. Just talking about
So we're just gonna talk about your favorite fights of the night. What were the best fights in your opinion?
Yeah, your favorite fights in this fight.
This will be the last question.
I was extra hype about my girl Rose.
Yup, Thug
Namajunas. That girl is a
fight.
beast. I'm so glad she won. If she was, because Jessica Andrade, that fight had me super hyped. And then it was like that fight, and then, you know, then we had the Yan fight, then we had the what was the fight after that? The Yan
it was
fight,
Yan Blessed,
and then the Volkanovski and Holloway fight, and then the Usman fight. Yeah, my favorite fight of the night. I don't know. I think it was I think it was the Volkanovski Holloway fight.
Yeah, that was a great one. My favorite, in my opinion, I liked Thug Rose versus Andrade. Yeah. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Did you see Ozdemir got knocked out in the prelims?
Oh, dude. No, that guy that he fought?
Ozdemir.
I am a fan, straight up and down. I called it right from the beginning, right before the fight started. I said, yo, this guy is going to beat Ozdemir. And my brother was like, no, you're bugging right now.
Here, Jiri Prochazka. I don't think I can say his name.
Weird.
Sorry if I didn't pronounce his name right. But Jiri Prochazka, he has that, like, you know, Ian Cubaletta? Like, that kind of strength, you know? It's like Hulk strength.
But his style was like that kung fu,
that was cool.
type stuff.
He knocked out Ozdemir cold. That was a great one.
Cold. Yeah, he woke up well rested and everything.
Did you see Amir Khani versus Dan Henry?
I did.
Submission?
Yeah, boy. That submission was nice. He transitioned right into the I actually looked away and I was waiting for the replay, but I saw like the finish, but I didn't see how he transitioned. How did he transition? Did he go from gator choke to an anaconda choke?
I think he switched his arms and rolled under. That's what I think. I don't remember really.
And then when he tried like saving his own arm, that's when Amir Khani stepped his leg over, right, and crushed the arm through and then finished it.
I think.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Yes. All right. So thank you so much for joining us, Sensei.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, you guys. I'd love to come back and chat.
Yep,
and
definitely.
You know, I know. I could probably ask if, because Jimmy Rivera is fighting on Wednesday, the day after, I could probably get him on with you. So
That would be great.
I would love to come and jump on the podcast with you guys again. Good luck with everything. And
Yep, thank you.
It was a pleasure talking with you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Sensei Pace.
All right.
Thanks
See
for
you later,
joining
guys.
us. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Sensei Nick Pace. It's really cool, to have somebody that we know that was also a former UFC fighter on here. I hope you enjoyed Killer Cam and Lightning Larry's MMA show. Peace out.
Thank you for listening.